Sorry. I just got, Funko Pops just all over the place. I call this one Ninja Batman with a trench coat. Am I live, guys? Am I live? Boop. There's a 10-second delay. Everybody's releasing cuts. Everybody's hashtagging the cuts. What's going on, guys? It is Friday. Welcome to 20. Crazy. We're in the 20s now, guys. That's right. We can actually say it's the 20s. Felt a little weird saying the 2000s. I guess you had to say the 2000s. That sounded very futuristic, but then you couldn't say the 10s. The 10s sounded very strange. And now we're in the 20s. The roaring 20s, I guess. Anyways, cheers, guys. Freeze, Karan, Nathan, what's going on? Michele, Frank, Soldier Wolf. Cheers, guys. Here's to a new year and hopefully a good one for everybody. Like I said, same old vodka. The same old Smirnoff vodka. That's right. Yeah, you know when it happens. You know, why change? I like it. It's smooth and it's cheap. That's all that matters. Hey, what's going on? I love from Akansha. Okay. Yeah, I'll check it out. Sorry, sometimes I don't get to my DMs and they get lost. But yeah, you know, sometimes I get a DM and I'm like, what the hell? Wait, what? What the hell happened, Hoskins? Don't tell me your appendix burst. What the hell, man? What's going on, Sinfinity? Frank and the fandom. High hopes for the 20s, right? It's just weird saying that. By the way, guys, Mr. Eric Blake, he is not here. He wasn't here last week, and he hasn't been tweeting. I hope that guy's all right. Just saying. He's been very quiet, so if anybody is in direct contact with him, hey, man, hit him up. Yep, first Friday of 2020. Here we are. What's going on, Mr. Venom Vlog? Sloan fan, what's going on? Oh, that's right. What do we got tomorrow? We got what? Seattle. What games tomorrow? Is it Seattle and Philadelphia? Something like that? That's only playoff. That's the wild card, right? Or something. I don't know which game is tomorrow, but I'll definitely be watching. 4 cuts. We need 4 cuts. What? Ayer, Snyder, JJ, Trank. That's mine. If we're gonna say 4. Now, I'm just saying, hey, I'm just wondering about the guy. He's just been pretty quiet. Usually he's not this quiet, as you guys know. Happy New Year's, man. Thanks for joining. What are you eating there in your picture? What are you eating? Looks delicious, whatever it is. Yes, I'm ready for World War III. Of course. I've been training my whole life for World War III. Of course. Bring it on. Hoskins, you didn't answer me. What the hell happened there, buddy? Jeez. Well, damn, man. Well, raise your glasses, man. Sorry to hear that. That's no good. Well, cheers to you, man. I'm pulling for you. Sending out the good vibes. How dare you? How dare you? Oh, it's New England and Tennessee tomorrow. Is there 2 games tomorrow? There should be, right? Or is it just 1 game? It's just 2 games, right? That's going to be a good game. I think that's going to be a good game. It's not going to be bad. Yeah, get well, Hoskins. Everybody's here rooting for you. Sorry to hear that. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about that cut? Yeah, that's that cut. I think what they reshot on the train was actually decent. Heard anything about how Reeves is pulling inspiration from the Adam West Batman? That rumor was going around because of the fact that he might use the blue and gray suit. That's pretty much it. But then again, who knows? There might be little callbacks, maybe the symbol. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So who do you think is the upcoming transgender character in the Eternals? Who knows? Kamel? I don't know. Maybe him. Who knows, man? Who's behind the screen? You or me? What? Yeah, they gave you Coca-Cola in the hospital? Interesting. But cheers, dude. Hope you get well soon, man. There you go. Bills and Texans. That'll be a good game, too. I think the Bills might pull it off. And so I'm going to make my predictions for tomorrow. I think the Bills are going to win. And I think the Pats are barely going to win. Barely going to beat the Titans. I think that's going to be a close one. Get well, Hoskins. Get well soon. Although I kind of want the Grindhouse. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Like a Grindhouse version of that. Birds of Prey looks like an unflushed toilet. Jeez. Well, I'm going to watch both. So, thoughts on the rumors of Matt Reeves trying to keep the Batman out of the DCU? I mean, it's kind of its own thing. Yeah, it's a younger Batman. I mean, Pattinson maybe could kind of pull off a young Batfleck, but I mean, there's always those rumors that it was in the 90s. I don't know. It's its own thing. I think they're being smart and like, okay, let's not dive into the whole Justice League thing again because we fucked that up badly. So let's capitalize on the Batverse. Let's have the Bat universe because that's something that Marvel. I mean, they kind of did that with Spider-Man. They were expanding that universe, and with the Raimi Spider-Man, I think they really would have expanded that universe. Marvel has Spider-Man. Spider-Man has a world to build, probably, of course, more than all the other Marvel characters. When it comes to DC, Batman has that world that you could easily build and have spin-offs. I mean, my God, we're going to have... I mean, we had this alternate Joker movie that fucking worked like gangbusters. Like Ghostbusters. Yeah, there you go, Steven. Speaking my language with that one. We almost made it a week without some stupid arguments and controversy over the release image. Yeah, of course. It's never going to be... Yeah, I never thought, especially, going into 2020, that I was going to see MCU fans and DCEU fans come together to call Wonder Woman 84 Ragnarok. I don't know. For some reason, they're just like, oh, yeah, that's just Wonder Woman Ragnarok. I'm like, no. Why? Because it's not dark and gloomy like old World War I London? Because it's not that? Even though Themyscira was bright and golden and just illuminated? So we're in the 80s era. Thor Ragnarok took place on a distant planet full of Cosmo kind of colors, and Jeff Goldblum being all Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, it's weird. It's like it's lazy. It's a lazy criticism, really, to me. I don't see really the I mean, maybe there's like a slight, but not really. It's just a lazy criticism. 3 DC cinematic universes going on at the same time is too much. It's called the multiverse, brah. The multiverse. That's right. Hey, well, thank you, Mr. Murdoch. Are you a Matt Murdoch? Whiny Tom Holland is not Spider-Man. He's Iron Boy. Well, hopefully he fucking grows a little with the next Spider-Man. I mean, if the end of Spider-Man Far From Home let us know anything, could be interesting. I actually dug the ending of Far From Home big time because it reminded me of the Raimi Spider-Mans more. Well, not just because of J.K. Simmons, but, Yes, I will. Because that's the only Snyder movie I have not watched. And now that it's on Netflix, I will definitely catch it. I'll probably watch it this weekend. Why the fuck not? They can have a Bat universe, a Superman universe, pretty much a world of... Yeah, they can. It doesn't need a. It doesn't. They tried. They tried to do something, but then again, Snyder was doing something different. He was kind of just having his own story. So one of the great things about being a DC lover is, I mean, I guess it is the same thing for Marvel, but DC just has really awesome, just one-off stories, books, that aren't really canon, that just have that play maybe off on other ideas. I don't know. So just like work it with that. Stop trying to connect everything. Everything doesn't have to be fucking connected anymore, Dave, what's your favorite Roland Emmerich movie? Well, I mean, I'd say Independence Day, right? I didn't see Midway, but I would have to say Independence Day is probably my favorite one of his. Which, Dave, which of the confirmed actor of the roles Reeves, the Batman, are you most excited to see? Which confirmed actor? Probably Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. I'm curious to see her Catwoman. I mean, that is a sexy woman. So, of course, naturally, I want to see the costume. But, yeah, probably her. The 80s was a colorful decade, so I see no... Yeah, exactly. I mean, I see it as, okay, let's not make every movie look the same. Artistic integrity or anybody, what's going on? You don't have to like it. It's fine. But I mean, that fucking trailer popped, man. I mean, Thor Ragnarok's trailer had what? Did it have had Led Zeppelin playing, but it's supposed to take place now on a different planet. So it was just kind of like, let's put a rock song, immigrant song in Thor Ragnarok. This one was like, okay, let's put the Blue Monday song in, but let's put some orchestra behind it and make it sound fucking awesome and make it pop with that trailer. I don't know. I'm seeing something a lot better than Thor Ragnarok. Just saying. I gotta call my lawyer. Okay. Give him a ring. I'm actually watching Liar Liar right now. Did you see Ready or Not? Just finished it before. So good. Oh yeah. I saw it in theaters. My review is on the channel. Yeah, I enjoyed the shit out of that movie. That movie was like a nice little contained fucking horror thriller movie. And yes, Samara Weaving is awesome. It's so weird that she's going to be playing the daughter of Bill in Bill and Ted Save the Music. She looks so much younger. It's probably just because the clothes. I don't know. She looks way younger than she does in Ready or Not when you see those pictures. Hey, Hidden Shadows, you here? Jose M too. People complaining about those pictures. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but the one where she's holding the dude and she's doing the hush thing, she looks sexy as hell. I don't know what the hell. That image, when I saw it, I went, oh my God. I mean, yeah, it's cheesy. I get it. I get the gripes. Oh my God, it's fucking, it's a little cheesy. Fine. But I don't know what it is about the way she looked right there. She looks sexy as all hell. Ha! Whew. Cheers to Gal Gadot. I like where your head's at. She would have been an awesome. But Emily Blunt could have been a good one too. I'm just saying. Yeah, Mackenzie Davis was badass. And I mean, that was one of the shining things of Dark Fate, was her. She kicked ass. Hey, thank you, Danny. Appreciate it. You from New York? I'm all in for the Snyder Cut, but I'd like Zach back to finish the Jail trilogy. I watched and we are robbed of Zach's greatness. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. Things have definitely gotten a shakeup over there in Warner Brothers, and things that are happening with that. And I would love to just be like, hey, it's gonna happen. It's all gonna happen. I never thought that. I was like, okay, get the Snyder Cut out. That's all he needs to do. But if they were gonna also do some alternate thing and maybe do something like, I don't know, little murmurs you just hear. I don't know. It's probably not gonna happen. But I feel you, man. I would love to see his complete Superman story, just like you. Okay. He's hot, as in he looks like he just got out of a tanning bed and he's all orange. Just watch Age of Ultron with my 8-year-old. Didn't know Josh Whedon did the same scene. Yeah. Bruce Banner falling on what? Yeah. It's fucking horrible, man. It just shows you that guy peaked with the first Avengers, and he's a pervert. And I heard on the set of Justice League, the reshoots, that he wasn't really supposed to be in contact with the cast that much. He was supposed to give us I don't know, specifically certain people. I don't know. It just released the Stoltz cut. Talk about Back to the Future. Zach is back. Watch. It'd be pretty awesome if that's the case, but it might be in a different kind of form than what people think. Yeah, I don't think she's going to be making it tonight. Yeah, sorry. She's not here. She's not here live, and I haven't seen her in the chat, so she's probably out and about or something. Joss Whedon lost it. Yeah, absolutely. He peaked with the first Avengers. I give him credit for the first Avengers. I can give him credit for what he did with that. He pulled off the impossible, and I enjoyed the shit out of the first Avengers movie. But after that, it's like, jeez. I don't know. I don't know, man. After that, it's rough. Maybe. Which cut was releasing? Yeah. This week, it's the JJ cut, Mr. Edgy. And cheers, brother. I'm sure the haters will screenshot this or, do a video where they try to link us again and try to throw that we are mean to people or something. I don't know. Oops. Sorry. But yeah, this week was the JJ cut, which, I mean, why not? Why the fuck not? There's more into that cut. I mean, the video that I just posted, I mean, a lot of it was from some Reddit thread. I would like to think that a lot of it was true. I would like to think that, there's obviously maybe some parallels that happen, because there's just more to that movie than anything. I actually do that. That's probably a good idea there, Edgy. I wish Reeves would keep the blue and gray batsuit. Well, we don't know what it's going to be like yet, so I don't know. I guess we'll see. And it's not overrated, but you're right. There is better Bruce Willis films out there. I mean, Jesus. But it's still a really good movie. Imagine the Russo brothers go to Warner Brothers and they want to do JL. Oh, that would just be ridiculous. I don't think that would ever happen. I don't know. I'm out near Playa Vista. What area are you near? I'm near like Riverside. Riverside. When there's no river. There's no fucking river. But it's called Riverside. There's no river. Did you see Snyder say your voices are loud and clear? When did he say that? I didn't see that. Interesting. I don't know when he said that. The Rock is getting swole. The Rock is already swole. Jeez. That's what I found funny about tonight when everybody was posting The Rock like working out. They're like, holy shit. I'm like, that's what he looks like. Jeez. He's always fucking doing that shit. I've been following him on the Instagram forever. I think it was just a filter they put on to make it really look like his muscles were just like, yeah. So I don't know. But I mean, obviously I think it's just like after New Year's, maybe he like didn't work out for like a week or something and ate a lot of junk food. So now he's just like getting back into that groove and he really wants to be like humongous. He wants to get to like Pain and Gain size, or I don't know. It's just crazy. What's your best Bruce Willis movie? Mine is definitely Die Hard. Yep, I have to agree with you on that. I actually watched on Netflix The Movies That Made Us, that little docu-series, which is great. The Movies That Made Us. And they also have a side spinoff called The Toys That Made Us. And I watched. I didn't watch the Dirty Dancing one because I don't care for Dirty Dancing. The movie's weird to me. Patrick Swayze is like 45 years old. No, but like I watched all the other ones, Ghostbusters, Home Alone, and they did Die Hard, and it's very interesting to see, everything that made made Die Hard. How it was a novel, and Frank Sinatra was supposed to be a sequel to the detective that Frank Sinatra did, and then it ended up just turning into Die Hard, which is crazy. How it was supposed to originally be a sequel to the detective with Frank Sinatra. It was a book, and then it turned into Die Hard. Crazy stuff. Love it. Steven, check the frickin' messages. Leo passing on that was a career mistake. Passing on what? What did he pass on? I'm trying to see. I'm like, what did he pass on? The guys react to the workout pics apparently don't keep up. I know. That's what I was saying. I'm like, he's always looking fucking pretty swole. I think he's just hitting it really hard, and he used the hashtag, so people are like, whoa. What do you think of Shazam 2 and Spider-Verse 2 coming out a week apart? Well, I mean, they both, if you look at the first movies, they both kind of made around similar, right? Just under 500 or around half a billion. So they both were like huge. So I don't know. Some of it probably changed. I just wish Shazam, if they're gonna make another Christmas movie, put it around Christmas, please. Just makes sense. LaFreeze is doing Chili first, blue and gray, second black and gray, and then fully black. Could be interesting. I think he was his biggest in pain and gain. Yeah. Oh yeah, Hercules. Hercules was probably like where he was his hugest. So maybe he's trying to get to that level. He's trying to get like just super fucking huge. And that guy's just, I mean, of course he could do it. Why do you not block that loser, Aaron? I mean, I don't know. Don't even worry about it. If he gets in here, I'll kick him out. Don't worry. I don't let it bother me. Who cares about that guy, man? Can't let the trolls bother you. Also, apparently the Kryptonian hologram that Bruce is looking at in jail is Superman. Yeah, I don't know why people thought that was Supergirl. That's old news. But now it's confirmed by Snyder. But I was like, I remember people kept saying like, maybe it's Supergirl. Look at that. Look at it. It's like it could be Supergirl. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. I never once thought that it was actually Supergirl. So I don't know. You gotta watch Don't Give a Fuck. Don't Fuck with Cats. There's something called Don't Fuck with Cats on Netflix. It's a movie. Check the Dracula show. Yeah, I saw some of that and it looked pretty interesting. Jeez. I saw the billboard that they had out in LA somewhere. I think it was pretty awesome stuff. Right? Bring back what's his character's name? Dutch. Yeah, Dutch. Bring back Dutch. Yeah. You don't get as big as The Rock without a little help. I mean, I'm sure it's like the healthier kind, if there is such a thing. It's not the ones that those other guys were using, but I'm sure he's definitely got some help. Well, good. And don't let anybody ever say that that's not a Christmas movie. What's your avatar? Is that the Phantom? When are they going to redo that movie? You know, they tried in the 90s with Billy Zane. Shazam should have been a January or February release. No, it should have been a December release. November, December release. It's right around Christmas time. I think I might have a crush on Kelly. Yes. Isn't she? Perfect. Perfect voice for that kind of Harley. It's perfect. The way that she drops those F-bombs and everything. I'm loving the Harley Quinn show. Harley Quinn show is just fucking awesome. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Don't think that's going to happen. this weekend, I'm going to be dropping all my top 10 stuff right now. So look out for that, guys. Yeah, I know I'm late. Apologize, but yeah, I'm going to have my best of 2019. I'm not going to do a worst of. I'm tired of doing the worst of. Yeah, I don't need to do the worst of. I'm going to do the top. I'm going to rank the CBMs that came out this year. I'm going to do my anticipated for 2020. And I might even do my top 10 of the decade. So we'll see what happens. What do you think of Birds of Prey? The movie could make 450 worldwide. If it does, it means profitable, right? Yeah. And I would not be surprised if it does. I mean, it's something unique. It's something different. You know, badass girl group, R-rated. Everybody loves Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. So why not? There's a doc about a murderer from where? Oh, okay. I literally thought it was about cats that you don't fuck with. Okay, I'll check it out. I like a good doc. I want to watch it, but worried it might creep me out. The cock? What? I got blocked from Chris Wrong channel for something I didn't even do. Stuff happens. The Rock's been juicing since he was a nation. Yeah. Yeah, you just don't get that big. You can't get that big without a little help. Okay, you can eat all the protein you want and stuff like that. I just hope it doesn't end up hurting him in the end. But, I mean, he's almost in his 50s and he's still doing it pretty well. He's probably doing it, hopefully, in like a healthy way. Fassbender as the Phantom would be, yeah, he would be a good Phantom. Oh, the Shadow. Who would be a good Shadow? What's his name? Lamont? Is that what his name is? I mean, Alec Baldwin, man, he showed a lot of Bruce Wayne vibes in the Shadow movie. I loved that movie when I was a kid. The Shadow, I watched that movie all the time. I love that movie. But they should really redo The Shadow, or like do it as a series somewhere. Have this noirish Shadow, and then you can have like your adventure Phantom movie. But then they put Aquaman out in December. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if it's a Christmas movie, it should be around there. I don't know what the heck was going on with that. That would be pretty sweet. Like I said, look out for my video. I'm seeing it. I'll see it. There's a lot of movies that are coming out this month, which is weird. I keep on seeing stuff. I thought about going to the movies last night to see The Grudge, but I'm glad I didn't. I heard it was a shit sandwich. But I remember when I saw the first Grudge, I saw it at a drive-in. That was horrible. That was a mistake because we could not make out what was happening on the screen at all. It was difficult. Don't ever see a dark movie at a drive-in. Well, now only do rated R. No, Wonder Woman's not going to be rated R. Aquaman 2 won't be. They're just, being diverse, which is good. Variety. Spice of life. I think Joker was a testing ground. Yes, it was. It was a testing ground for movies like that in the DC Black Label. So hopefully they do another one. Take their time. Don't rush into it. If they want to do a Luthor movie or like a Crane movie or fucking go, do Bane or something. I don't know. They want to do one of the other villains and kind of like make it like that. Fucking do it. It's about cats you don't fuck with. Just watch. What the fuck? Okay. You're tripping me out with this whole thing here. It'd be interesting. Timothy Oliphant. Do you think we'll be getting the Snyder Cut this year? I'm hoping so. It's looking good. It's actually looking good. Can't believe Birds of Prey is just a month away. I can't wait. You see the bat? Yeah. I mean, I'm not like too jazzed about it, but like you said, badass, sexy females. I'm all for it. I mean, that Journey Smollett is like, where'd she come from? Jeez. I still can't believe she's Michelle Tanner's bestie in Full House. I'm like, oh, why? What? Yeah. She is she grew up to be a sexy little woman. And of course Margot Robbie. Of course you want to see her. And what's her name? Elizabeth. What's her name? Oh, man. Brain fart. I'd love to see Leto in an R-rated Joker. Yeah, wouldn't that be sweet? But they kind of dicked him out of it. I know, it's a month away. Isn't that crazy? So we're gonna start hopefully seeing a bunch of stuff kick the gear. Oh yeah, that's right. I remember hearing about that a long time ago. That's probably a good idea. I think he was actually smart for doing that. Because if you actually look at it, look at where Hayden Christensen is and look where Leo is right now. I mean, if Leo did that, probably wasn't. Yeah, I remember hearing about that though, because he actually looked like Jake Lloyd, like an older version of Jake Lloyd, if you wanted to be honest with it. But smart that he didn't do it, to be honest. I think, yeah, good on him. Oh yeah, it's always going to be PG-13. It's crazy. Call me crazy, but I feel like Momoa and Godot should have fought to bring back Zach. Maybe they did. I think they did what they could. It's only so much they can do. So yeah, I mean, but they really kicked things into gear. So I don't know. Anyone receives their please check the tag for a Warner Brothers logo. Yeah, you're right. That'd be a good idea. See if there's any trademarks or anything on there. It's kind of weird that Snyder's able to do that. But then again, they might have said, yeah, do that because it's for a good cause. I don't know. Some kind of write-off thing. No, it's not going to make the list. Maybe it'll make the 2020 list because I didn't catch it in time because it's not playing anywhere around me right now. So, but I do want to see it. Yeah, Jumper was actually a good movie. I actually enjoyed that movie. Vodka. I'm the only one who likes Karate. You like the threes, huh? You like the Karate Kid 3, which was with Terry Silver. I wonder if Terry Silver is going to make his way into the Cobra Kai series. And then what's his name? I forgot what the bad boy of karate. What was his name? It was basically Karate Kid 1 over, the same thing a little bit, just a little bit different. No Elizabeth Shue. No, I didn't see Uncut Gems. Did not see it. Oh, look at that. She made it. See? She's just always fashionably late, guys. That's all. See, look at that. You're so popular, Amanda. Look at this. Jeez, they don't even care about me anymore. Look at that. Happy New Year. Yep, Knives Out was fantastical. Look at that. Just all there for you. All there for you. But come on, guys. Amanda's not the sexiest one that just joined this whole live thing, okay? Sexiest one is this guy right here.
Hey.
He's here.
What is up? Oh, you're probably getting like some sort of weird feedback 'cause I'm not wearing headphones.
I never wear headphones, but I never hear anybody say that there's any feedback. Is there?
Hairphones? You should say hairphones? Yeah.
Headphones. Okay. But there's no feedback, right?
No, you're fine.
Yeah, I think I have a good microphone, I guess. I don't know. Whoa. Anyways, welcome, Steven. Dave, what was any chance of the Joker? Yeah. Anyways, what's going on, man? Happy New Year. Oops. Did I mute you?
Muted me.
Oh, okay. You muted yourself. That was weird. Okay.
Well, had enough of me already.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I am doing. I drove 10 hours yesterday.
You drove 10 hours. Oh, that's right. You were like in what, Florida or something?
Yeah, I was in Florida for like a week and a half or something like that. We drove down shortly before Christmas and then drove back. We went
How
all the
long?
way to Miami and we visited friends in Pensacola for a few days.
Nice.
And then drove all the way back from Pensacola. You can drive. My geography gets wonky like out east. I did not know you can drive 10 hours without leaving Florida.
Yeah, it's a big state.
Yeah, it's
Big
insane.
state. Geez, how many miles is that? You live in what? Iowa? What?
Iowa.
Yeah, okay. I was like one of the I states. I knew.
Yeah, so we drove about 1,000 miles
Jeez.
yesterday alone. But then it's another 700 or so to Miami, I think, from where you were. So
Wow.
and
Long
we
drive.
yeah, so but I drive well. I was shocked. We've got obviously the two kids, and was very impressed with how well they handled the drive. So that was always encouraging.
That's good. I mean, I've driven from Alabama to California before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I was born in Alabama, which a lot of people always get thrown off of because, they're like, what? You were born in Alabama? I get a double take every time. That's right, guys. I was born in Fort Rucker, Alabama.
Fort Rucker. I drove past. I drove through Mobile
Yep. There you
yesterday.
go. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm an Army brat, so obviously that's why Fort Rucker. And then we eventually made the drive from Alabama to California. So that was probably the longest, when it came to a road trip with family.
Yeah.
Here I am. I stayed. Look at that. What life would have been like if I went back to Alabama because we were supposed to. Jesus Christ. I would have like an accent. I'd be hanging out with what's his nuts from Squad Cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be hanging out. We'd be having our own freaking podcast. Sweet Home Alabama. That's right. I never watched that movie.
Over Tim, kicked Tim out of the podcast.
Who's Tim?
Tim is the co-host
Tim.
on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was totally drawing a blank on his name. That's why I was like, Squad Cast guy.
Well,
Sorry,
Scott's
Tim.
the one that was on the podcast. Tim is
Tim Yoko.
the other one.
Yeah, okay, well, who's God? Why am I drawing a blank on names? It's been a long week.
Yeah.
Sorry. What's his name?
Scott.
Scott. Jesus. Oh, that's right. Jeez, man, terrible. If you're watching, Scott, I give you permission to send me all the bad tweets you want me to. God, totally just drawing a blank. But anyways, so you were there in Florida, Christmas and New Year's, and
yeah,
just all over the place, visiting family too, or what?
Yeah, we were gonna visit my my wife's brother. Just had a baby like 7 weeks ago now, I think. So we were planning on visiting him, and then a couple weeks ago he had open heart surgery.
Ouch.
So we kind of bumped it up a little bit and went down there to kind of visit and make sure everything's cool with them, and then just kind of hopped around and visited people we knew on the way down and on the way back. We stopped our friends in Pensacola. I've known for like 15 years now, and it's my brother's sister's brother. No, I'm talking about my brother's wife's
roommate.
my brother's wife's brother and his family. But like my brother and his wife like grew up together, so like it's like we call ourselves cousins-in-law, I think.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah.
Cute. Well,
yeah.
good. That's good. Yeah, I just did the normal thing. I worked and then visited family. On the days off. That's about it. Nothing too crazy, but it was good. I mean, my New Year's was like just chill. Just went to my friend's house and I drank Jameson, smoked cigars, and we played adult card games. I mean, that was fine by me. And see, sorry, man. I know you went to Palm Springs and wanted me to go with you, but I was like, I'm an old man.
I don't know. It's weird. Obviously, this is maybe means nothing to you, but I lived in the Midwest my whole life.
Yeah.
Being in a place where it doesn't, it's a white Christmas is like not super common, but it at least snows a little bit throughout. Maybe it doesn't stick for Christmas,
Yeah.
but the weather is so like ingrained in my mind as like a part of
So
the
you,
holiday. And so like the day after Christmas, we were like getting seafood out, like sitting
you're
outdoors
like
on the
in
beach.
shorts.
Yeah, exactly. And they've got like
Yeah.
Christmas wreaths up, and I'm like, I don't. This doesn't feel. It's like,
Look at that.
um,
You're putting me on blast. How dare you?
uh,
Hey, sorry.
yeah, take it where you can get it, man.
I know. Whatever. I know. Sorry, Amanda. I was just, wasn't feeling like going to Palm Springs and going to gay bars. I know you went to a gay bar. That's what I heard. Anyways, but I actually been to a gay bar. They're kind of fun. Not gonna lie. I've ever been to one. It's weird. It's an interesting
Yeah,
atmosphere. You ever been to a gay bar? This is going into a weird direction, but have you been to a gay bar, Steven?
yeah. That used to be
Yeah.
like one of the final stop on our like bar
Yeah.
hop in college was a gay
There's
bar.
something that's fun about it. I mean, first off, you're not gonna, if you're worried about getting hit on and all that stuff, they know. They immediately know that if you are or not. And yeah,
Yeah, it's cool. Well, and I mean they'll buy you drinks and stuff too. If
exactly.
you like,
They'll do that.
I don't
And
know. A lot of gay guys
girls,
flirting with straight guys.
yeah.
So
And then, girls love to go in there and dance because they know that most of the guys in there aren't interested and they're just there to dance. It's not
yeah,
some douchebag that just starts coming up and like starts humping your leg.
actually, this is funny. So taking a dark turn,
Okay.
the gay bar we used to go to, the guy who owned it, yeah, got his house burned down by a guy who visited the bar and woke up in the dude's living room with evidence of something involuntary having happened.
Oh, geez.
And so I had moved away at the time. Excuse me, but I remember reading yeah, I saw it in the paper and it was like, yeah, the dude like was at it's like the place that I've been before, and it was like, oh yeah, he got abducted like by the bar owner and like taken back to his house, and he woke up and was like, I'm not okay with this, and so he like burned
No.
his house down.
Wow.
So yeah,
Turn that into a movie or like an episode of something. Jeez.
yeah, it's like an episode of like a true crime garage or
Yeah.
something like that.
My God. Crazy. But yeah, I know I was lame, man. I'm sorry. I just was like, I already said I was gonna go to my friend's house, and it was fun. It's chill. Didn't feel like going out and everything. But anyways, let's get off of all that. What do you think about release the JJ cut?
I don't know. I'm always down for alternate cuts of movies. Like I love watching fan edits. I
Yeah.
used to download like whether it's just tweaks or like I love downloading fan edits that are like reimaginings of movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone go Google or go to YouTube and check out Star Wars Neon Noir.
I still need to
It's
watch that. I think you've
it's
heard that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm a big fan. It basically it takes the whole Star Wars prequel trilogy and recuts it to be like the movie Drive,
Um,
basically. And so it's just like long like instrumental period, like not even quite montages, but just like visual storytelling. We'll to take out a bunch of the dialogue and just do like the Drive soundtrack with
yeah.
like Star Wars.
Speaking of Drive, the opening of Drive is like probably one like in my top 10 best openings in a movie.
Yeah,
That whole, the way that it all plays out, it's just so I don't know, it gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. It's so perfect. I mean, I love the whole movie, but that opening, I could just watch that opening over and over and over again. The way it
hmm
plays out, pretty
yeah. And the
perfect.
music is so key to that too.
Yes,
But and like
the tension.
I'm a big fan of the Star Wars prequels, but just the idea of like people putting their own kind of creative spin on that stuff, I always love. And so
Yeah.
obviously I'm like a big Snyder Cut supporter, and
I haven't heard that.
so oh no, I'm like
Yeah, you're against it.
I'm like
You're against it.
counterintelligence.
Fucking A.
Um, and so I would love to see a JJ cut.
Yeah.
Um, but it's not the same thing.
It's not. It's not the same thing
At all.
I mean, there's like if you want to believe some of the stuff that's out there, like I just did a video about covering that whole Reddit spread, which it's a lot of it sounds like Alex Jones tinfoil hat stuff, but it was interesting when you got the parallels a little bit to how the studio could have reacted to Last Jedi, and this one they were like, no, can't be the same, and they were just feeding JJ a bunch of stuff. But the thing is, though, what's different about it majorly is the fact that JJ had final cut authority. Snyder didn't have final cut authority to Justice League.
Right. Well, but you go back to the basics, even like, I don't know, I guess go back to the beginning. I don't want to be too thorough, but Star Wars has always been producer driven.
It has.
And like, sure, Lucas was the director for quite a few of those, but so much of Star Wars was shaped. There's that famous YouTube video about how Star Wars was made in the edit, and that was really Marsha Lucas.
Yeah, I heard
that
she
recut the
one of
first
the main
one.
reasons why like the originals are like, hey, that they're good, and then she wasn't around for the prequel to say, hey, stop that, don't do Jar Jar.
Exactly. Well, and then Lucas didn't direct Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi,
That's what I always
but like
say. Yeah.
he was like coming onto set and like making sweeping changes and sending them rewrites and stuff. And like for Return of the Jedi, he came down and basically took over directing from Richard Marquand. And so like the same thing happened with that as like any of this other stuff where he was the director was like neutered on set and George Lucas was doing all of it, and that's in addition to all the stuff he does in the editing. Obviously he directed the prequels, but even with those, they didn't do reshoots. Like I don't know if this was the same for all of them, but on especially Revenge of the Sith, they didn't have like scheduled reshoots. They just had like a open soundstage or like studio where they just had a like assembly line of people coming in to do a line here and a line there and a line there. Like it was just a conveyor belt of reshoots and tweaks. In addition to all of his like, he would manufacture brand new scene. Like Ewan McGregor, or Ewan, I get yelled at by my British friends when I say Ewan. He has said like in interviews before that he'd be watching and there'd be a scene and he was like, I wasn't on that location talking to that character or saying those words ever during production. How did they make that happen?
So he was just basically on the soundstage in front of a blue screen or green screen?
No, he took like Lucas would take a conversation he had with one character or like three different scenes with like three different characters, and he would take it and rotoscope it or it'd be in front of a blue screen or whatever, and he would then use dialogue from different places to stitch together a brand new line of dialogue and match it with the lips, and then just pair it with a different character and give it like completely new meaning. He's like, oh, I want to do this with this scene, but I don't have it, so I'm just gonna make it. And it's very similar to what they do with like Avengers. Now you see all that stuff with Avengers where they're like everything is green screen or done in post or whatever. He like pioneered that, and so he was the director. So is he really overriding the director's vision? But you better believe that if someone else had directed it, he would have been doing that to them.
Jeez.
Anyway, so the point is, the idea of like Star Wars being totally like reshot or reshaped in post production doesn't really offend me.
Yeah.
And with J.J. Abrams, like he's not Zack Snyder.
No.
Like you don't bring it like there's the idea of J.J. Abrams having a vision is like funny to me. Because I think he's talented. He's technically proficient. He knows how to like. He's a good producer, and he's a good director even. But like there is no such thing as a JJ cut. JJ himself had like multiple endings to the movie. Sure, I'd like to see more footage. I'd like to see a longer cut. I
think another half an hour would probably do it justice.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of those scenes.
I just get nervous when people start comparing it to the Snyder cut because when you bring in Zack Snyder to run the DCEU, he had a 5-film arc. He's a quote unquote visionary. You brought him in for his vision.
Yeah.
You had multiple movies on the backs of these movies he was making. It was a Zack Snyder thing versus J.J. Abrams came in to replace Colin Trevorrow, which is already overriding another director's vision.
Yep.
And then he's a studio yes man for the most part. And he's like the mystery box king. So his movie's going to have like a million things that he's doing rewrites on set. And he's going to find the movie in the edit and he's going to take studio notes to adjust whatever it is they want. And it wasn't taken out of his hands either. He directed everything, and so it's not like he was fired and replaced. And so,
and like I said, he had final cut too.
yeah. Well, I don't know if he actually was
Did
allowed to execute on that at the end of the day. I think Iger probably had more say than he did, but he
of course,
cooperated is the point. He
yeah,
wasn't removed from the project. Um, he played ball, and I'm anticipating for him to come out and say something along the lines of the theatrical cut is my director's cut, or there is no director's cut,
yeah,
he's already spoken out, and him and Terrio have spoken out in support of the ending and support of other stuff on it. So would I
yeah.
like to see a better, longer cut? Yes, of course, always. Um, but it's not comparable to the Snyder cut.
No,
From
not.
conception to execution to
Not
principle,
gonna be. It's
it's
not going to be completely different. There's just going to be longer scenes that make you maybe like, oh, that felt better,
yeah,
But when
exactly.
it comes to the Snyder Cut, we're going to be watching practically a different flick with like the base of, okay, these guys have to defeat this guy. That's about it. Other than that, we're going to see like an entirely different movie. And
Yeah,
when it comes to this, yeah, it's just going to be longer scenes, but you're still going to get the Ray low kiss. You're still going to get a lot of things. Maybe instead of, I mean, I don't know how true it was. It almost seems like maybe they did at one point figured, okay, we have all these actors coming back to do the voices in Ray's head. Maybe they were like, why don't we just put them in front of a soundstage and put them in outfit and maybe make them a Force Ghost?
yeah, exactly.
That was
Well,
true.
and they have the technology to do
Yeah,
that. Like even if they don't, even if the actors don't shoot it,
yeah.
you can't tell me that they don't have the technology to insert them somehow. They've got like probably
I was
digital captures of all of them anyway.
I was expecting it. I actually thought like, oh, they're gonna show up. They're gonna be like behind her or something,
Well,
and nothing
one of my
happened.
I had very few specific expectations outside of like I wanted it to be a conclusion to the 9-part Skywalker story, which I was actually very satisfied with.
Yeah,
When it comes to how well does it close out the Skywalker story, I thought it
it does.
was
It
aces.
does its job. Yeah.
Um, and but the only like specific thing I wanted was are you a Dragon Ball Z fan?
No.
No. Ah, okay. Well, people in the chat that know, I wanted my dream for like the ending was like a riff on the father son Kamehameha from the Cell Saga, and they basically did that just minus the Force Ghost, and so that's kind of it's it would have
Yeah.
been like yeah if she had been like I am all the Jedi and it was like
Yeah. That would
um
have been, dude. The whole fucking theater would have just erupted if that was the case. And it's just, yeah, it just seemed like it was almost like a missed opportunity. At the same time, was it just something where they thought, let's not put that in there? But you
yeah
think they would have, because there was a lot of fan service, a
well
lot of fan service in there.
yeah, exactly. Well, and there's a couple different ways also I'm noticing where I think that they got a little bit pedantic about Star Wars canon in some
Yeah.
cases, which is weird because they also stretched it in other places. But technically, like the Force Ghost is a complicated thing because like not all the Jedi learned how to do it, or not all of them are able to do it for various reasons. Um, and even the ones that like they had voices of people that per the rules that they've established
Yeah.
in other canon shouldn't have been there. Um, I think that's all easily explainable with like a hand wave though, because there was like a big moment in the Force. Why not bring them out? But um, or that's how Anakin's Force Ghost was introduced in the first place anyway. They're just kind of like, yeah, it doesn't really follow the rules, but we'll put him in there anyway in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Make them young.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think that would have been a really cool moment. I mean, the voices were cool.
Yeah.
Anakin Skywalker was done a major disservice by the whole trilogy,
Of
I
course.
think.
Because he's supposed to be the chosen one.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not I don't think they necessarily undermine him as the chosen one so much as like the ending of Return of the Jedi is his redemption. So there's
Yeah.
6 stories all about Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader. It's the fall, the rise, and then he defeats the Emperor, and brings balance to the Force, which
Yeah.
they give lip service to a couple times here. But you see that in the Force Awakens, the only recognition of Anakin is Darth Vader's mask and how it influenced Kylo.
Yeah.
And
Evil. Yeah.
so now they're saying, oh, well, that was Palpatine the whole time, which is all well and good. But like in The Last Jedi, then they say, they're like, oh, no, it's too late. He's gone. He's not redeemable. And it's like, Luke, you were the one that redeemed Vader.
Mhm.
Like that's the lesson from the other one is that like nobody's like Darth Vader did. There's people argue about this, and it's not a debate. Darth Vader did worse things than Kylo Ren did.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, and people are like, "Oh no, Kylo killed Han Solo." It's like that's just because you like Han Solo. If you liked the
yeah.
younglings in Episode 1,
Jeez,
like
I know. I mean,
you
like
or episode in
Anakin
Episode 3.
murdered kids in episode 2. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he destroyed planets also. I
Oh
mean,
no,
he
episode
ended the
3.
Jedi for
Yeah,
all, like,
yeah,
or almost did. Um, and so I don't think so. If Vader is redeemable, then I think Kylo is, and so it was really weird then to totally miss, not just to ignore that for story purposes, but for Anakin's kids to
mhm.
not be the ones to say like, "Oh, our father was redeemed, therefore our son slash nephew can be redeemed," felt like really tonally disconnected from
Yeah,
this, like the whole point of the 6 episodes leading up to that.
yeah.
And then at the end of the day, all that we really got from Anakin in The Rise of Skywalker, like I was hoping for like for him to like talk to Rey and be like, "I was the chosen one, and now you're the chosen one," or
I
whatever.
know.
But to have
That
some
would
sort
be,
of a passing of the torch or a
yeah,
recognition,
that would have been nice.
and they just had like he said something like, "What, Rey, bring the balance back to the Force,
Like
like
I
I
did.
did."
Yeah. It was kind
Like,
of like cheap.
it's
It was like
cool, thanks.
I was really. That was another thing I was expecting. I was like, I would not be surprised if Anakin shows up in this. I mean, yeah, I think I would have actually preferred that more than Luke's Force Ghost. To be honest, I mean, Luke's Force Ghost theme was kind of like, we knew it was gonna happen. As soon as she was like gonna throw the saber in there, I'm like, gee, I wonder who's gonna stop that. You know, it was predictable, and it was kind of cool to see him raise, of course, the X-wing throwback. I get it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, I was really kind of jonesing for like an Anakin Force Ghost to show up and
Yeah,
talk
exactly.
to Rey.
Well, and I thought he should be the one that maybe talked to, like, there was a minute where I was thinking that it should have been Anakin instead of Han Solo,
Hmm.
but I flipped on that when I saw it a second time. Well,
Yep.
or when I talked about it, I guess I hadn't seen it a second time yet, but I agree on it with my second viewing that because Han is not a Force ghost. Han
Yeah.
is actually Kylo's memory. Um, and so that's that's Terrio taking a scene straight out of BVS.
Yeah. But then there was like, one of the things that was said in that Reddit thing was like it was triggered by Leia, which I kind of thought was kind of cool because it was
Mhm.
like, okay, she used the last bit of life in her to communicate with her son. And I
Mhm.
thought it was kind of like all she did was go bend and distract him where he got stabbed, and then that was it. But I was like, it's kind of cool if that is actually true, where that and then her triggering the memory of Han after
Right.
all that was also a part of it. So I actually dug that whole part in that little thread, thinking that's actually a nice little added story, moment right there. So,
Yeah, same. Well, and what I like about it also is that the fact that it's that memory of his father that converts him. That's something that comes from internally,
yeah,
right? So it wasn't divine intervention that saved Kylo. It was him remembering that he had love in him.
yeah,
Um, and he had a memory of his father to save himself. Whereas if it had been like, "Oh, hey, I'm Anakin, and I'm gonna Deus Ex Machina bring you back to the light side,"
yeah.
like that'd
That
be
would have been,
cool. But as for the character, I think it serves his character way better to have it be an internal memory that brings him around.
yeah.
And
No, it
then
worked.
throws the lightsaber just like throwing the kryptonite spear.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, it paralleled the scene from Force Awakens too, which was kind of cool because he like holds the lightsaber just like he did. And then of course there was like a little throw. I didn't catch it the first time, but the throwback where he was just like dad and he couldn't find the words, and then Han goes, "I know," because it's like he wanted to say "I love you," just like how Leia said "I love you," and he goes, "I know." So that was a cool little throwback. I was like, okay, I get what you guys did there with that dialogue, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But I did dig. I dug that Ben. As soon as after that, and he shows up where Ray is and Palpatine is. I mean, I dug how he was. It was like, okay, he's different. He's not
Yeah,
Big Ben anymore.
I
Now
would
he's
have liked to have
yeah,
gotten more. I
yes,
really would have loved for the turn for if I were to reconceptualize this whole story into a new trilogy. Half of this movie would have been in
Yes.
The Last Jedi, and he would have the climax of that would have been him turning there, so that we get a whole
Whole
movie
movie
of light
Big
side
Ben.
Ben, because he was pretty cool. He had a personality shine through that we didn't get to see the rest of the.
It was almost like Han Solo as a Jedi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
because
And
it
like
was like
everyone's wanted to see that since
yes,
forever.
because when he has the lightsaber with the Knights of Ren and he does that whole, "Yep, guys, I'm
Yeah,
gonna fuck you up now." It was just like, it's so badass. And then he
yeah.
starts doing it, and it's just yeah, it was like Han Solo as a Jedi, which is that I think that's what they were going for. Even when he like shoots behind him, it was like
Well, and also, despite the numerous issues with the script and editing and whatever other nitpicks, one thing I will say is that when the first time they did that, when he swipes the necklace
yeah,
off of her when she's on Pisana, um, I was always a little bit leery of like in the Last Jedi. I thought it was kind of cool how there was the water on his glove to
yeah.
kind of show that there was like a hint of, which is a funny, once again, funny way that like this movie really connects with Last Jedi a lot more than some people
Yeah, I
think it
know.
does. It's not. I don't know.
There's so
People think
many
it's like a
people are like,
back
"Oh,
hint.
that he corrected." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? He capitalizes specifically on that part, like you're talking."
Yeah. Because like that's a cool moment where it's like, oh wow, there's a really really strong connection here.
Yeah.
But then when he grabbed the actual necklace and then like gave it to one of his officers and like had them inspect it, I was like, that's a little bit weird. I don't know how I feel about that. What's going on here? And then they had that
I'm
whole
giving it
duel, and I was like, okay, visually this duel is kind of cool where she's in
I
the
dug it.
room and he's in the planet, and I was like, but it's weird. It has weird implications for like other stuff in the franchise. But then by the time they got to the lightsaber handoff, I was like, "Oh no, you turned me around. I am fully in favor
There you
of
go.
this whole thing."
Yeah.
um,
I mean, as soon as like you realize that he can't see where she was at, and then all of a sudden when they knock over the Vader's helmet, then all of a sudden he sees it and goes, "Oh, that's
yeah,
where you are." You know, I don't know. I really dug how they did that scene and how, and then yeah, like you said, a lot of people. I even watched like reviewers like, "Oh yeah, they were totally just course correcting, course correcting." I'm like, "What are you talking about? That was like a big part of Last Jedi, and they capitalized on it and made it even more like."
honestly, the biggest thing to me that they did with the Last Jedi it wasn't so much a course correcting, so much as explaining it. Like, and I didn't even like the Last Jedi. Like, I've got some major issues with the Last Jedi,
Yeah.
but I didn't want them to course correct. I'm a Star Wars fan. I recognize they do stuff I don't like, and I want you to embrace it and go with it. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of the way where I stand on it. And so like I wanted them to embrace it and move forward, but um, I felt like the closest they got to like any sort of a course correction was exposition that was just repeating what happened in the Last Jedi for the people that didn't get it. Like Luke, she says something to Luke about like, well, I thought you said such and such, and he goes, well, I
I was
was
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, they're retconning the
Course
Last Jedi,
correcting.
and I'm like, no, that's what he said. Like, doesn't he actually say that? It's like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I was wrong
Yeah. Yeah, I
in the
thought that
Last
was the
Jedi.
whole point. Was like, yeah,
Yeah, the entire
course
point was that he
correct.
shouldn't have been on the island and he
Yeah.
shouldn't have been a recluse like that. So,
And he gave into his fear. That's why he was on that island. He didn't want to fucking take responsibility
yeah, The
after
Last Jedi
everything.
does not say it's good that he was an
No.
exile on the island. It says it was bad. He made the wrong decisions. So anyway,
Yeah.
um, so I'm not going to say that there was no attempt to appease people that didn't like The Last Jedi. I think that there was some of that in there,
Yeah.
but it's not
Oh,
nearly as severe as a lot of people think it was.
oh
And
yeah.
I think that opinion also rules a lot of the discussion of it online. I actually think this movie's going to age a lot better than people think it is.
It will. It will. I mean, I mean, one of the things I spoke about in the video that I talked about the JJ cut is, um, if this movie doesn't, I mean, it's going to make $1 billion for sure, but it's not going to reach the predecessors. It's going to be the lowest one out of the new trilogy. What says Disney and Lucasfilm to be like, hey, let's release an extended cut to get more scratch? I would not be surprised if that would be like an incentive to it. I'm not saying
Mhm.
it's going to completely, like we were talking about, it's not going to completely change the movie, but it's going to add a little more depth in some scenes, maybe. And to me, it sounds like a good idea, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's complicated because we're talking about Star Wars, and so
True.
the A New Hope was getting edited as it was in theaters. Like, it wasn't. There's a lot of people that kill me for calling it A New Hope. It was Star Wars at
Yeah.
the time. But in like weeks of release, it was getting alternate audio tracks, and then even the opening crawl was changed to A New Hope on a re-release. Um, I don't think the episode 4 bit was there. It was episode 4 was added. That's right, episode 4 was added, and then A New Hope was added even later.
Mm.
And then that was before even the special editions. And then we get into the Han shot first,
Oh God, I hate
and
that.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so yeah, by the time you get to like the Rise of Skywalker, there's plenty of precedent for like alternate versions of Star Wars and
Of
stuff.
course.
But
Yeah.
also that all happened by George Lucas under like his reign, and Disney is like, I can see them releasing the deleted scenes. I have a hard time seeing them um,
Being put.
admitting to their mistake, and they don't have to either.
You know.
Is the thing. They don't have a reputation of like protecting any sort of artist integrity to uphold.
Yeah.
And there was nothing. There was no promise of director driven, pure J.J. Abrams anything for
No.
them. Like they have no face to save on
Oh.
this. The only thing, and nobody cares about J.J. Abrams. Like, right? Like this is not about J.J. Abrams. This is about people that want to see the J.J. cut. Um, want to see a better movie.
That's
They'd be happy if it was reshot by Ryan Johnson, even, or whoever.
yeah.
Or maybe I shouldn't say Ryan Johnson, because I'm sure half those people would say no.
I mean,
But
that's what I said in the beginning of my video. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a thing now, huh? As in, anytime you don't like the movie, release the so and so
yeah,
cut.
exactly. Well, and that's what makes me nervous about comparing it to the Snyder cut. Is yes, I'd love to see alternate and better versions of movies, but there's a big difference between Warner Brothers promising Zack Snyder and fans a whole franchise of Zack Snyder movies,
Yeah.
marketing him as a quote unquote visionary director. Like it says that in marketing. The whole point is this is Zack's aesthetic. This is Zack's movie. It's an Elseworlds thing. It's director driven. They talked about being director driven. Um, um, and then they go and they don't just kind of push him around, but he's actually outright removed from it. And
Yeah.
then the product that they deliver is not only drastically inferior, but more importantly, a bastardization of a vision. And you have to have a vision for it to be bastardized. And J.J. Abrams is not a. I don't know
No,
if I'd say he's not an auteur, but he's not like he. That's not the way he works.
no, I would say that the Josh Trank cut of Fantastic Four is more,
Well, Josh Trank is an auteur.
exactly. That would be more in line with how the Snyder cut is, like when it comes to like director vision and everything like that. That's a little closer than a JJ cut for sure, because like you
Yeah,
said,
exactly.
it's Star Wars has always been it's a film by committee.
Well, because
It's
remember, JJ ended up directing this movie because the other guy got fired.
yeah.
Like like we're already knee deep in the replacing directors, and so yes, we'd love to see an alternate version. No, this is not like
I just
the comparison
yeah.
to Snyder is I think a disservice to the Snyder cut.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. I think even Grace said something like it trivializes or whatever the hell.
Yeah,
She actually made a good point about that. Yeah, you're absolutely correct, because I just want longer fleshed out scenes. I don't expect the movie's not going to be that much different. It's just going to oh yeah, okay, that's better. I needed that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I personally, as I think about it, I think between some deleted scenes and then like Star Wars has always had big a one of my favorite things about Star Wars is that you get divisive responses like this, and the
Yeah.
fan base is big enough that like it would almost be a boring result for it to be like a universally loved final chapter for
Yeah.
Star Wars. So the fact that it's divisive
I mean,
is
what
fitting.
series do you see on like TV? That's everybody loves Breaking Bad, but then you talk about people like, "What'd you think of the finale?" And they're like, "Fuck, it sucked." I fucking hated it.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're gonna have that regardless.
Yeah,
But especially with Star Wars, it's very fitting, I
yeah,
think. But um I think we're gonna get some trilogy recuts that like you can take this movie, and especially if they don't take some deleted scenes, there's some deleted Last Jedi scenes, there's some
Yep.
deleted Force Awakens scenes,
Yep.
um, and um, and I think there's some really cool things you could do with fan edits to you could essentially do like what we said with I don't you'd have to, it would be hard to manufacture much more like light side Ben stuff, but I think people can use the Last Jedi to fix what they, or use the Rise of Skywalker to fix the things they don't like about the Last Jedi, um and kind of maybe they could seed some stuff about Palpatine into the Force Awakens, and
Yeah.
there's all sorts of weird stuff they could, like, maybe have Palpatine's laugh inserted over the shot of Ben asking Vader's helmet to talk to him,
Yeah.
um, and
And that's
so
what
I'm
people.
really excited to kind of see what fans do when it comes to that.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Is like, some people are like, oh, they just shoehorned Palpatine in there, and I'm like, did they? What is your opinion on that? Do you think it was a last minute ad or what?
If you go back and start reading the books that
Dark
were,
Empire and stuff like that.
no, like the canon books, so like Chuck Wendig's Aftermath was published in
Ah,
September of 2015. That's 3 months before The Force Awakens came out, so it was written like as the movie was being made, right?
ah,
Um, you read that book, or specifically that trilogy. The third one was published in 2017, I think,
ah.
2018.
Yeah, I heard about this place.
Um, and a bunch of other books also. But you read those books, and there's a major theme of stuff that's getting fleshed out in because all the old books and everything are non-canon now, and so the new
Yeah.
ones as of 2014-ish are all in continuity with the movies,
Okay.
and there's a major common thread in there, and that establishes Palpatine's plan, his contingency plan, that he was working on since before the Phantom Menace. He was building up all these research outposts all over the galaxy. He was kidnapping Force sensitive children and doing experiments. He was trying to find ways to get into the unknown regions because he sensed dark power out there. He was experimenting with resurrection technology. Um, he was working with doctors who did cloning and were
Yeah.
transferring consciousnesses into different bodies. He was
Wow.
working with other Force using witches and stuff to learn their powers.
Baby
Um,
Yoda. Just
and yeah, exactly. I think Baby Yoda might be a
yeah.
Palpatine experiment.
Yeah.
Um, and then most importantly, in the Aftermath books, um, Jakku, the battle that happened at Jakku was the final stage of Palpatine's contingency plan. And after the Empire was defeated at Endor, and the Emperor was supposedly killed, the Rebel Alliance forms the New Republic, and they fight the remnants of the Empire until eventually they all meet for a massive battle at Jakku,
Mhm.
and Palpatine had given a list of instructions to a bunch of different people to do all sorts of crazy, weird stuff, and um, and that battle at Jakku, there he had Palpatine had built like a research base there that drilled a hole basically into the core of the planet, and he had an acolyte priest guy named Yup Tashu who
Nice.
um he believed that Palpatine was going to be, I think he literally said, reborn or enfleshed in the unknown regions, and we need to go find him. He plotted a way out of the galaxy, out of the known galaxy into the unknown regions, and they were supposed to go find him and return him to his body. And he has the Sith holocron, and he throws it into the core of Jakku, and it's going to explode the planet. And as a result, it's going to wipe out all of the New Republic and all of the Empire, and it's going to be like his revenge. He compared it to flipping the board at the end of like a chess game. Like if you lose chess and you just flip, like fuck it. Like
Mm.
that was Palpatine's contingency. It was like, screw the whole galaxy, you got me. But he had there. But anyway, but the point is, it's it reading it at the time, it was just like, okay, yeah, this all makes sense with Palpatine. But then the second you see the trailer for The Rise of Skywalker, where it's got the Palpatine laugh in it, I was like, whoa, wait a
That
second.
makes sense.
And you go
That
back and you look at those
makes sense.
books. This was being established since The Force Awakens came out. I don't know why they didn't put it in the movies, but it's all there. It's all in the books. His
Yeah.
his plan or the process of which he's going to come back. I mean, it's been a major theme in the comics, in the books, and in animation even, that he was seeking a way to live on. He was building these research bases. All of it ties in. And like, in fact, I would say that the non-movie stuff sets up the Rise of Skywalker better than the movies do, which is a weird thing for Star Wars, because normally they kind of just give lip service to that stuff.
That's the thing. It's like there's so much mythology when it comes to Star Wars, and I'm not one of those that really dove into the comics or the books or the video games or anything like that. But there's so much mythology in it, and it just kind of shows you that Disney Plus has a lot to work with when it comes to Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I mean that's why, like, when I talk to somebody like you who's read that stuff, or anybody else, like in reality, where they like, oh well, yeah, that's actually because of this, because that, and then I go, wow, that fucking makes sense. Then, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, to put it in perspective, in April, I think I wrote a theory that Snoke was Palpatine.
Yeah. I
And
remember that.
and what I outlined, I went back and I read it after the movie came out. And I was basically exactly spot on. And I'd like to say that it's because I'm just like super smart and can predict this stuff.
Of course.
But really, all it was I just took what's in the books and took what was in the movies and said, okay, if A and B, then C. That it makes sense. Kylo was being. It doesn't make sense that Darth Vader would be tempting Ben Solo after his death.
Redemption.
So somebody is using that. We don't know who Snoke is. Where did he come from? Who is he?
Yep.
Palpatine was looking for ways to live beyond death. He even says in Revenge of the Sith, he says that his master taught him everything he knew, which included how to survive death. And then you're going to tell me that Palpatine isn't alive and that Snoke has nothing to do with him. So
yeah,
it's
crazy. I remember even seeing somebody said, like, it shouldn't even be called the Skywalker saga. It should be called the Palpatine saga, because I mean, really, like, he is the big baddie of all three trilogies.
Yeah, exactly.
It all leads to him.
Yeah, I think that's really one of the things that's very underappreciated about the prequels.
Yeah.
Is when you really follow, people focus on Anakin Skywalker, and I think Anakin's arc in the prequels is great, especially if you watch the Clone Wars series. But if you understand the politics, I think people roll their eyes at the politics as part of it. But if you actually follow the politics of what's happening, he leveraged the self-interests of the upper class basically to manipulate himself into a position of power and neuter the Jedi in the process. And so, like, when he's in front of the Senate and he's like, oh, the attack from the Jedi, like, he framed them for attacking him. And I think the problem is everybody already knew he was the Emperor. Like, when it starts, they're like, oh yeah, no, we know that guy from Return of the Jedi. But if you look at the story and consider that you don't know that already, you realize, like, people had no reason to believe that he was wrong about the Jedi attacking him. Like, the Jedi screwed up. They legitimately screwed up majorly, and they legitimately attacked him. And he was like, it was a coup. It was a coup attempted by the Jedi. And so, no, go figure, everyone's going to rally behind him, and the Jedi are going to be outlaws. And I think that that's kind of a whole angle that people miss. And they say, "Oh, the Jedi were dumb or stupid." It's like, well, yeah, no, it's exactly how they were supposed to be. Like, they failed. They fucked up big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, everybody universally seems to love The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And that was cool to really dive into the bounty hunter world, which is, of course, what we always wanted. Every time we heard about a Boba Fett movie, we're like, yes, do it. But then all of a sudden I mean, it sounds to me like that's probably going to be dead in the water now with The Mandalorian.
Yeah, well, and Boba Fett is one of those frustrating things that, like, there's some incongruence between, like, what fans want and like what the Star Wars, like, elite fans and Lucasfilm want.
Yeah.
And like all the like I don't know, I don't even know how to categorize, like, the professional Star Wars fans and the I'm doing lots of quotation marks tonight.
Yeah, you are.
all the professional like Star Wars fans and all the like most like Lucasfilm employees, people in the story group, etc. They don't like Boba Fett. They don't like Boba Fett. They don't like Dash Rendar. Like all the things that you want to see in a Star Wars movie. Like
Fuck
if you're like a typical Star Wars fan, you're
yeah.
not going to see it. Gray Jedi, like none of that stuff is going to be in a Star Wars.
Oh, I remember that
Star
was
Wars
always
movie.
talked about, like with Last Jedi, or like, oh yeah, fucking Rey, she's gonna be a gray Jedi.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember hearing that a lot. I'm curious to see where they take the Obi-Wan series. That's going to be interesting because we know it's going to be right between 3 and 4, and they're already talking about, hey, they're going to cast a kid Luke, and it's like, okay, so how much is Luke going to be involved? Because he can't be too involved with certain things unless
not really, but there was a couple stories. Actually, there's one specific story that's weirdly been told like 4 different times in like different comics and books and stuff, which isn't common. It's very rare that stories will like overlap, but there's a number of instances where like Obi-Wan is legit like watching over him. He saves him from a dragon and he protects the farm from like sand people and from like there's like a sandstorm and some like Jabba's henchmen attack or something, and Obi-Wan is like in the sandstorm with his lightsaber like a ninja, like taking them out and stuff.
Oh my god.
And
I could see it being better than Mandalorian. Well, if you're like more into the Jedi aspect of Star Wars, I could see them really doing something. If they, I mean, I don't know who's like overlooking it. I mean, obviously Mandalorian was Jon Favreau, and it was like, dude, you did a fantastic job of like creating this whole world right here. But I don't know, have they announced like who's like kind of doing?
Deborah Chow is
Okay.
directing a lot of it, and she did several of the best episodes of The Mandalorian.
Okay. So that could be
Which
good.
ones did she do? She did she did the one where the Sin, I think, where the Mandos come in on their jetpacks and save them as he's fleeing.
Yeah.
And then I think she also did let's see, her and Rick Famuyiwa both directed multiple, and they also directed the best ones. The other one, the other Taika did. I was really impressed with Taika's actually.
I actually thought that was my favorite episode, the last episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a great example of because I think I'm not his biggest fan, but I think people don't fully appreciate how talented he is because they know when they think of him is Thor Ragnarok, and you know, like anybody, you know, don't judge them by their MCU products.
Except for Favreau. I mean, with that first Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly. Favreau, well, and Gunn, I think, also is
with the first Guardian.
Doesn't people look down on him because of the MCU also, and I think that he does good work outside of that. But what I really want to see from the Obi-Wan series actually is I think they have the ability to bring back a chunk of the prequel cast to do some major flashbacks.
Yes,
I think they can do some really good. I hate talking about it. Like I said, I'm a prequel defender, and so I'm not gonna do the quotation marks again. But I hate people talking about like fixing the prequels or whatever because but I think they can add some really cool context to the prequels by like they could straight up do some like bring back the guy that did the clones. I was just talking to Tamara Morrison, and like get him in some scenes, and because his characters are like really big in the Clone Wars animated show, and obviously you've got Obi-Wan. Hayden Christensen can still play Anakin. Hell, you could probably get Natalie Portman to play Padme again, and like. Imagine having like if half of the Obi-Wan show happens during the prequels and it's like a parallel flashback because he's going to be think about what he's doing in the desert. He's working through his failure with Anakin, right?
Yeah.
So he's
there's going to be a lot of
there's got to be, and that's going to be. Imagine doing some prequel battles in the middle of this story where he's in the middle of the desert watching over Anakin's son. Like I was
talking about that with somebody on Twitter. I was like, I would not be surprised if Hayden Christensen does not show up in the Obi-Wan series. And then somebody was like, no, that's impossible. I'm like, I was thinking flashbacks, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking like fucking like continuity. Like all of a sudden he just shows up with, I'm like, I know he's Vader at that point. And that's got to be another thing too, is like, is there going to be any hints of Vader in the Obi-Wan series too? Are we going to?
Well, here's a thing that hasn't been done yet in canon, is there is not a moment where it specifies that Anakin or that Obi-Wan knows Anakin is still alive.
Oh.
Um,
Oh yeah, because
he left him.
He doesn't know, and then he just you're
So I mean, he probably does know.
huh.
But
Know that he
like,
turned.
obviously, because it's not like he found out in A New Hope.
Yeah.
We think he knew because he says he even says to Luke that a young Jedi named Darth Vader was a pupil of
Yeah.
mine. So like he knows, but he doesn't know. I don't think he knows at the end of, because Vader was like in the shadows for years and years and years before he emerged. So there is a moment in time where Obi-Wan realizes, oh no, he's still alive, and he is just this dark terror,
It's
and
funny too.
it's my fault.
Funny too, because there's also a moment in A New Hope where Vader goes, "I haven't felt something since," and then he doesn't complete his sentence.
Yeah,
I mean, that could be any time. It could be, "I haven't felt something since Mustafar, that battle I had," or it could be
yeah,
something that the Obi-Wan series can even capitalize on a little bit.
yeah. I'm uncomfortable with the idea of them like bringing them face to face
Yeah,
or
not
like in
face
the
to
same
face, but like
vicinity.
crossing paths. You know,
Yeah,
I
one of the things
don't
that
want face
I'm
to
the
face.
most nervous about with the show, but
Yeah,
also if they do it right, I'd be a fan. Like, I'm not going to say absolutely no. I'd be nervous about it. Is like the idea of Bail Organa like sending him a message and being like, "Hey, I have a special request," and having him like do a Black Ops mission off of Tatooine
yeah.
briefly, going in.
It should all really take place on Tatooine, huh? Like he shouldn't like really
I
go.
think, I mean, except for flashbacks,
Yeah,
I won't. I'm not gonna lay down an absolute rule and say there's no reason that he should leave.
yeah.
Although I think my preferred story is he never leaves, and the only times we ever leave Tatooine
Flashback.
um, is for flashbacks to the Clone Wars,
I mean,
which could include stuff like we could see him fight Maul again.
oh,
Like I think they mention a battle that he has with Maul that we have yet to see, and it
oh,
might be in the next season of it might be in the next season of Clone Wars,
uh,
but
Mandalorian also they talked about bringing in Darth Maul too, and I was like, that's a little strange.
I
But
think that was misinterpreted by the person that published that,
okay,
because the if you look at the post, you're talking about the Instagram post from Ray Park, where someone says that he was teasing a Mandalorian role or something.
yeah, that could have been probably
Because if
it.
you look at it, it has nothing to do with the Mandalorian. There's no like Mandalorian
I just
hashtag or
saw the
anything. Actually,
headline and I didn't look into it, so yeah.
yeah, he hashtag Ray Park posted a picture in Darth Maul makeup and he hashtagged it with like
Mandal.
hashtag Star Wars, hashtag Solo. And so I figure it was just a behind the scenes shot from his Solo cameo.
Well, I mean, that was one of the shining moments in Solo was, hey, look at that. There's Darth Maul, one of the coolest characters in this thing that died in episode 1, which of course a lot of people are, but
Yeah.
like you said, obviously he makes an appearance in the Clone Wars series.
Yeah. So what happened was he survived that, and
Yeah.
his he got the short version. It makes more. I think it plays better than this, but the short version, he survived and he got robot legs, and then
Yeah.
he killed Obi-Wan's girlfriend. Um,
Yeah.
and then he Obi-Wan kills him on Tatooine later on. But I think there is room for another duel somewhere in there if they want to have or just straight up show us something in live action that we've already seen in animation. I don't care. There's nothing wrong with giving us another.
Well, that's the thing. That's the beauty part about, when it comes to the flashback stuff, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen have aged gracefully.
Mhm.
I mean, unless you look really close, you can maybe see some freaking creases that they could easily just, make up out, and they could still look like the characters that they were in episode 2 and 3
Yeah.
if they wanted to. And so that's what I was like, yes, do something with that. And I would not be surprised if they do. They should, to be honest. Unless Hayden Christensen's like, fuck that, I'm not even going near that. But some of his stuff that he does.
With how popular the Clone Wars show was, there's demand for. Obviously, people have been begging for Ewan to come back.
6 years.
And yeah, exactly. And I think there's an itch for. I don't know. I mean, I got to find a better way to say it, but I think there's people have an itch to see what could have been with the
Yeah.
prequels, to see like what happens if like a Deborah Chow directs the cast of the prequels in prequel era situations with clones and droids in live action, but not with George Lucas dialogue. um,
Jeez. I hate sand. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh God. I
So
can't
I
watch
think,
Attack of the Clones because of some of that. It's hard,
yeah,
it's difficult. But I mean, there's some good stuff in there. I'm not gonna always like shit on everything. I'm not one of those people that just I can't no. There's some
yeah.
things I can enjoy, on there. I mean, I actually kind of dig when like all the Jedi are on that little battlefield thing and they're doing their thing. I mean,
I always kind of viewed it as like I don't know if everyone views anime the same way, but like for me, I kind of have to turn off my like the tonally it just doesn't quite connect with me, and so I have to view it more kind of conceptually. Like it's not like the characterizations are just not very,
yeah.
I don't know, dramatic. But if you kind of get past the like weird behavior and nosebleeds and and stuff, you there's like really cool like dramatic stories being told. And so George Lucas actually said once something about someone said something about his criticized his dialogue or said something about the importance of dialogue, and he said something along the lines of dialogue is overrated, that he said it's just sound effects.
Oh,
And I think maybe that's kind of a little bit misguided. Obviously I think dialogue is a big deal, but also we're talking about movies, right? We're not talking about a written or an audio performance. Obviously audio is part of it, and dialogue is part of it, but the visual storytelling, the sort of mythical scale is so important, and then like the music, there's so much heavy lifting done in the story there that if you force yourself to follow the story through the dialogue,
yeah.
you're missing so much. Whereas if you listen to the dialogue just like Charlie Brown, wah, 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 and just kind of, he says he hates sand, but what he's really doing is just having an angsty teenager speech, fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what he's saying. Just think about
I remember.
the
I remember.
nature of it.
I remember Harrison Ford always. One of the things that he said from the first Star Wars was, I guess he like said to George Lucas, like, "Hey, you could write this shit, but you can't say it." you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I really came to like the prequels. Was it's not like I necessarily love the dialogue, but
Yeah.
once you kind of divorce yourself from making the dialogue do the storytelling to watching the imagery and following the
There's a lot of
music.
beautiful imagery. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I
I mean,
think,
you know what? One of the best things I loved about Attack of the Clones, which I think is the worst Star Wars, is the imagery of when Dooku and Anakin are lightsaber battle, and they're in that part where the light goes out, like they cut off the power that was up,
yeah,
and then it's slow motion, and only their faces staring down at each other.
yeah,
Their lightsabers are like illuminating their faces. Beautiful fucking shot. Very
yeah,
beautiful.
exactly. Or there's crazy stuff like to avoid getting too far into it, look up ring theory if you wanna do it like a deep dive. But there's all sorts of fascinating stuff like when Anakin goes to kill the Sand People after his or when he goes to rescue his mom specifically.
That was actually a good scene. I like
That scene is like a shot for shot replica of when Anakin, not shot for shot, but very close to shot for shot replica of Luke going into the cave on Dagobah in The Empire Strikes Back. And
that.
so you think about it, you're in the middle movie of a trilogy, you're at a moment where a character is being tested,
Mhm.
or being tempted. They go into like a cave. What are they going to find in there? Anakin finds his nightmare that he was having of his mom dying. Luke finds this nightmare of Darth Vader.
Interesting.
Um,
I always liked that scene too.
and um, and then Anakin, his mom dies, and he cuts off the Tusken Raider's head. Luke cuts off Darth Vader's head. Luke sees, and like Anakin embraces the dark side there and kills all of them. And Luke sees the helmet explodes and sees his own face in the helmet. And then like Luke spins out of that and uses that as like a motivation to go to the light side, whereas like Anakin embraces it. And so you see there's like kind of a like the visual kind of poetry there of um see you're talking about a shot for shot from the searchers. Ah, interesting. Well,
Huh?
it's also parallels Dagobah and
wasn't there something
in that
kind of
scene
like that
also.
too in Last Jedi, where like Rey, when she was like practicing, the way that she was maneuvering herself was the way like Kylo Ren
Yeah,
maneuvers himself at Luke at the end. Kind of,
yeah, I think so. So they did that within the same movie, but there's a lot of points in the franchise where there's different move, or like for example, when Anakin cuts off Dooku's head in Revenge of the Sith. Once again, you're at the third movie in the trilogy, and the hero is standing over the villain with the sword. So
two.
you have Anakin standing over Dooku, but then Luke was in the same position, standing
Yeah,
over Vader, and Palpatine is watching on. And in both cases, he says, do it." And
you got Rey
Anakin,
holding two when at the end of Rise. Maybe
yeah, sure, you got that also.
she's
And
got
then
both. Wow, I didn't think about that.
Anakin kills Dooku. He's
Mhm.
consumed with his guilt by that, and that's part of his sort of journey to the dark side later on. But then meanwhile, Luke says no, so you have visual symmetry, and then it breaks, and Luke says no, and he throws his lightsaber, and then that's what redeems Vader. Looking back, Vader's going to remember that also.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a lot of examples like that where it's like Lucas will take different movies and it's like it's the same, different, and it's really cool. And so you kind of see that kind of stuff happening in the prequels. And if you focus on sand and Jar Jar
Yeah,
and all that stuff,
you really gotta get past a lot of the bad stuff. I mean,
yeah,
like I said, like I even said, like, even though Attack of the Clones, I can't, but there were certain scenes in there, that being one of them, where he goes to his mom and he sees his nightmare and does all that. See, I didn't know about that, the parallels to like other things, and that makes me actually want to just watch the whole fucking series.
exactly. Watching
See,
Star Wars is so much more fun than hating Star Wars.
yeah, it actually can be. I know.
Yeah.
People are so quick to hate it, and I even saw when after Rise of Skywalker came out, I saw so many tweets where people were like, man, nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans, and I'm like, it can kind of be true, but when then if you talk to like a diehard Star Wars fan or somebody who knows a lot, and just, I mean, for you instance, I mean, look at you're actually making the prequel sound a lot better than they actually were. Maybe not Phantom Menace so much, but you're making Attack of the Clones and Sith sound really good.
Yeah. And that's it's funny though that you say it, because the whole no one hates Star Wars fans, or hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans, is a thing that I think social media has a big impact on that. But
Yep.
like that was a thing that people said before Disney owned
Oh yeah.
Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people who are way more into Star Wars now, because with social media and the way fandoms kind of form and are in more in public eye now than they used to be, all the Star Wars drama and Justice League drama or whatever fandom drama you have is like front and center.
Well, that's the thing. It's like,
Um,
yeah, keep going. Sorry.
but oh no, I was just saying, but that's been true
Yeah.
since
Well, I mean,
forever.
I saw it twice. And in both times I saw it with a packed house, and all the little twists, all the stuff. I mean, people were into it. People were cheering. People were clapping. And I'm like, these aren't the people that are bitching online on
Oh
Twitter,
yeah,
all the time. It's not, these aren't those people. These are the people that like, they want to
yeah,
see Star Wars. They got it. And every time, like when Kylo Ren tells us that she was a Palpatine, gasps,
yeah.
and then there's people online that go, fuck that shit, that
Or like for example, the whole like who are you, Ray? Ray who? Ray Skywalker. People are like
oh yeah.
scoffing at that online. People
Yeah.
like that.
Dude, people
People
cheered both
people like
times.
that in theater. They're eating that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see and it's got an 86% audience score
Yeah.
on
It's weird how
so
it reversed from Last Jedi, because Last Jedi was like what, 50 something, and then
yeah.
like a 92 or something from the critics. It's interesting because I watched Last Jedi before I watched Skywalker. I mean, there's things I actually thought were great. I think the final act, the Luke showdown, badass.
Yeah.
All that stuff I dug. I thought it was really strong. I even like it more than the Force Awakens, like final act, to be honest.
Hmm.
But there's things that bother me. I'm like, I don't like what they did with Poe, and even with Leia, it was kind of and specifically Rose and Finn. That was just like, I mean, Finn had such a unique arc that it seemed like JJ did establish in Force Awakens, and Rian Johnson said, I'm not going to do that, and kind of went off because to me, Kylo Ren on that in the first sequence or the first scene, Force Awakens, when Finn is not doing what he's supposed to do, and then Kylo Ren's about to walk back on the ship, and he stops and he looks over at Finn. It seemed like he felt something, that Finn was like, had something in him that just kind of, I guess, awoken. And I think that kind of started off the whole, oh yeah, Finn's Force sensitive. Look at him go. And then in Last Jedi, Rian Johnson said, I'm not going to even touch that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of weird ways where I think that it's hard because I support the notion of subverting expectations, and I don't think audiences should always get what they want or what they expect. But I think that JJ had a great point when he said, especially specifically with Star Wars, that audiences don't want to be told that things don't matter.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first things where people are like, whoa, he's taking shots at Rian Johnson, where I don't know that he was doing that entirely, but there are definitely like key moments where like JJ set up this final scene of The Rise of Skywalker where Rey, I hate that shot, that spinning helicopter shot on the rock where the background is panning by. Like, that makes me sick. Maybe it's just me, but it's an ugly, ugly shot. He did it again with the Knights of Ren and Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But
the background looks like it's moving faster than the camera. I know.
Yeah, it's not. I don't like it. I don't like it. But anyway,
that's a Tony Scott shot. It
is.
Yeah.
And so they end the movie and Rey's holding out the lightsaber to Luke, and the whole movie, people knew Luke was in the movie, but the whole time we're like, where's Luke? Where's Luke? Where's Luke?
Yeah.
We find Luke. He turns around. He's got this look on his face. She holds the lightsaber out to him, and credits. For 2 years, people are like, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? And then Last Jedi opens and Luke throws the lightsaber. And I like the idea of him throwing the lightsaber and him being like, no, screw that. I want nothing to do with it. But the like slapstick almost kind of nature of it.
It's not done well.
It's like maybe if you do that, like, that's like Yoda in like Empire Strikes Back. So it's not like that's not Star Wars. I did it again. It's so it like fits stuff that they've done before. But
maybe if you took it and just kind of slammed it down, and he like was visibly angry at the fact that no, I can't do this. But the fact that he was just like, fuck you.
It wasn't just flippant to the lightsaber, which, like I said, I think that if that was like in the middle of the movie, that might have been okay. But you're going to Star Wars fans who haven't seen Luke, hasn't said a word since his father, like on screen, since his father died in Return of the Jedi, right? So like this is the first time we've seen him, and we don't know what's up with him, and we're like, what's he gonna do? This is everybody's hero, and then it's not just like a no, it's not a rejection. It's a like no, it's like laughing at fans for caring so much about what he's gonna say. Like
I remember seeing in the theaters and people laughed like,
yeah.
What the fuck? Like, what? He just flipped it over his shoulder.
Yeah.
It was nothing. Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff like that in there too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what really irks me about the movie. It's like, it's not, I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't need to see the fucking green, blue nipple milk. It was like, okay, I get what you're trying to do. You're showing that, but it was just like
right. Well, there's a difference between we're denying fans the fan service. There's like a difference between anti-fan service or like subversion and like mocking fans. And this felt very much like it was like, haha, you care about this stuff, aren't you stupid? It's like, you're making the Star Wars movie. Stop making Star Wars fans feel dumb for liking Star Wars.
But then
there's nothing wrong with us wanting to see Luke go fight Kylo in the flesh or like any of that. There's nothing wrong with that. Now it's cool to subvert that, but don't make us feel dumb for wanting him to lift the lightsaber out of the water or any of that stuff.
Yeah, and then like the whole stuff with Rey going down into like the cave or like the hole, whatever the hell. I thought that was actually a pretty cool scene. And that's what led me to believe like they establishing that she was a clone or something like that.
Yeah,
that's what really got me like.
I like that theory too. I like the idea, and they could have. Yeah, There's a lot of stuff they could have done with that. They didn't.
Yeah, I know. I mean, because I remember like a lot. I mean, before Force Awakens came out, I remember there was rumors that the MacGuffin was Luke's hand and Luke's lightsaber, and and then when Force Awakens came out, and that was one thing that didn't get resolved was when Maz said like in Force Awakens that lightsaber calls her like, "Where'd you get that lightsaber?" She goes, "Oh, that's an answer for a different time." She didn't really answer it.
Yeah,
We didn't get
we
that
still
answer.
don't really know. I think we do. We got an idea now, but
Yeah,
it's going to be underwhelming. But
but
it's not going to matter.
I was always like, okay, well that lightsaber had a fucking dead hand on it. It had a hand on it, death grip. What happened to that hand? And I remember hearing
Yeah.
that, like before Force Awakens was even like the title, that the MacGuffin was Luke's hand, and that's why I kind of went, maybe Rey is some kind of clone from the DNA of
Yeah.
Luke's hand.
Well, in the old Heir of the Empire books, is that what it was? Heir of the Empire. The Timothy Zahn books, there was a clone of Luke that was made from that hand.
Yeah, see,
Um,
I just
and his name was Luke with two U's.
ooh,
Yeah.
that.
So I'm glad they didn't do that. But and yeah, so there's I don't know, there's stuff they could have done with that. MX Bravo, I think, made it pointed out something I also like about or don't like about it is that he says that Crazy Yoda in Empire was acting. Other than that, he was actually pretty serious. And that's the thing that always struck me as weird about The Last Jedi is they're like, oh, Yoda was crazy in Empire, so we're gonna make Luke crazy. And then Crazy Yoda is the Force Ghost that we see at the end. It's like Crazy Yoda was not Yoda. Crazy Yoda was
Yeah,
a
an act.
persona that Yoda was taking on.
Yeah,
So like
I didn't really like Force Ghost Yoda in Last Jedi.
yeah, because it wasn't Yoda. It was the persona that Yoda used to troll Luke when he first arrived on Dagobah. It had nothing to do with Yoda from the second half of Empire or Return of the Jedi or any of the prequels.
Yeah.
It's that kind of stuff that's like why, and it felt like, and maybe this isn't why he did it, but it felt like he did it because he knew it would piss people off.
Yeah.
And so that's a bad reason to do stuff.
I could see Ryan Johnson being like that too. Like,
Yeah.
And then it just wondered, like, do you think like his other trilogy is gonna happen? I think that's probably not gonna happen, right?
There was a big bunch of people jumped the gun on that a while back on that there was
Well,
news that came out and then it all got denied and debunked and turned down. I
yeah.
will say that like it's been pretty thoroughly passed around for a while now that it's probably not going to happen. I don't
Yeah.
know why I don't know who is stopping it from like being officially confirmed, but I seriously doubt it's going to happen. And most people have been told by somebody that it's not going to happen. And now he says it is. And so who knows, but I think we're seeing, Ryan Johnson's series is going to happen, and Ben Affleck is going to be an ape on the ground for Matt Reeves. Like,
Yeah, but it's funny too because I mean, when you watch Last Jedi, you see that kid who's like got force, he's got force abilities, and he holds the broom. It was like Ryan Johnson was more trying to like, hey, I'm going to establish my own shit in the middle of this shit.
yeah, like that. I hated that shot so much. I know, and I think that's one of the things that like the people that hate the Rise of Skywalker love that shot, and the people that love Rise of Skywalker hate that shot.
Yeah.
I don't mind that shot for like the conclusion because that's like a very Star Wars feeling shot, but it makes no
very out of
sense.
place. It just seems very out of place.
It felt self indulgent.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how it had anything, especially when Leia telling Rey we have everything we need. They're on the Falcon, and Rey's like everything's gone, and she's like, no, we have everything we need. Meaning like we have you and me and the lightsaber in the books, and I'm going to teach you to be a Jedi was like the original plan. And like that's like a perfect ending right there. I don't know, like the Broom Boy repeats like just doubles down on it. Like we already know that. Like you're not telling us anything new by adding in Broom Boy.
See, that's another thing that frustrated me about Last Jedi is like it ended in like, okay, well, what else needs to be? I mean, obviously Kylo Ren probably wants to still, I don't know, achieve whatever he wants to achieve. But like when you look at when you think trilogies, it's like leave some kind of cliffhanger. This has got to be the bridge.
Well, and like I said, they say they knew early on that they wanted to use Palpatine, and in all the books and stuff, I think it's pretty clear that Palpatine was being developed. But like, why not throw in like something to
In
tease him?
yeah.
Like after like Snoke dies, or I don't know, like maybe if you want to keep it as like some sort of a big twist, maybe you can do something to get people speculating. Maybe you don't have to confirm it outright, but like everyone was like, oh, they ruined it because now Snoke is pointless. And I never see. That's why I'm always weird on the Last Jedi, because I never bought into like they wasted Snoke. It's like, no, clearly Snoke was like, Palpatine was introduced. He was teased in Empire and introduced with absolutely no backstory in Return of the Jedi in the original trilogy. So it's not like that's like any sort of new handling of things. But I don't know. There's so much weird stuff where it's like I feel like I could have a talk with Ryan Johnson about Star Wars and we'd have like a great time, but I just don't like the things that he decided to, or the way he decided to execute everything in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, there's stuff I like about it that it's like cool, but like, I mean, when you see the ending with the kid, and then you see like, it just seems like everything's like kind of like wrapped up in a bow. It's like,
Well, and what was he like? JJ left him with that cliffhanger of like Ray holding out the lightsaber,
mhm.
and then JJ leaves, or then Ryan leaves JJ with like, what was JJ supposed to do something with Brimboy?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
was he supposed to ignore him? Was he supposed to make him? Was Ray supposed to like
It
train him
seems like
in?
that should have been at the end of Rise of Skywalker or
Yeah,
something.
that's a perfect ending to the whole saga. Like
Yeah,
that is the legacy of the Skywalker saga,
yeah.
right? Is the boy being inspired by Luke. Um, but you put it at the end of the Last Jedi, then what? Then you ignore it. Like
Yeah,
it,
it didn't work. I mean, like I said, the middle movie for a trilogy should be the bridge. I mean, if you look at Empire, I mean, look at the way that fucking ended. Han was frozen. Oh, he's gone. Luke
yeah,
got his hand cut off, and he found out that his fucking father was Vader. There's so many questions, like so much that, like, oh man, I can't wait for the next movie. But when it
yeah,
comes to Last Jedi, at the end of that, you're like, well, what's left? What, that we just find out
yeah,
where she's from? I don't know. It just, yeah, like you said, they should have introduced elements of Palpatine in that movie. You know?
yeah. Oh, here and here's movie marks saying
Yeah.
Plagueis is better than Palpatine. Me blow your mind. I think Plagueis is Palpatine.
Ooh.
Because um, if you see in the movie, Palpatine says, "Strike me down." He tells Rey, "Strike me down in anger, and I'll like become you." And then he says he's all the Sith.
Yeah.
And so you kind of look back at, okay, so what did Plagueis? What happened with Plagueis? It's like, well, Plagueis learned how to survive death, and then his apprentice Palpatine killed him. But if he learned how to survive death, then how? Then there's just kind of a
Yeah.
weird way to play that. Um, and then um, and then also then Palpatine later on in Rise of Skywalker confirms like, oh, if you kill me, I'll become you. And so you look back at the idea of the Sith rule of two, and in the non-movie canon, they've established that there was a Jedi Sith war thousands of years ago, and due to infighting, the Sith almost killed each other off because they're like inherently selfish, and so they had like were squabbling over their own little kingdoms or whatever, and
Mhm.
almost drove themselves to extinction. And so Darth Bane was like, okay, enough of that. There's only going to be two of us going forward, one master and one apprentice. And then the master would find a new apprentice. The apprentice would kill the master, and then that kind of chain happened all the way until Palpatine. But now that we have Rise of Skywalker, you look back, I'm pretty sure that there was a lie. The master always became the apprentice. Like the rule of two was a lie to trick the apprentice into growing stronger. The master would find an apprentice who could become stronger than them. The apprentice would kill the master. The master would become the apprentice. So Palpatine is he's Plagueis, he's Bane, he's every Sith up to that
Mhm.
point. Because
Interesting.
and that's why he brought in Anakin, because Anakin was going to be stronger than him. But what happened to Anakin? Obi-Wan fucked him up.
Yeah.
Palpatine didn't want to become Anakin anymore, so he tried to become Luke. Luke said, what did he tell Luke? Strike me down in all of your anger, just like he told Rey. Luke said no. So then he's like, well, screw you. And then he tried to go after his nephew. That didn't work. And then he found Rey. So that's kind of yeah. I think that's my theory is the rule of two was a lie.
There you
It was
go.
a lie that masters told their apprentices in order to trick them into becoming their new host body.
I like that theory. Well,
Yeah.
that's a good theory to end on right here. We're almost at 2 hours here. Holy shit. A lot of Star Wars talk. I like it. Anyways, guys, yeah, I'm on my last little freaking drink here. So thank you, Steven, for joining and giving off all that Star Wars knowledge. I mean, I don't know where they go from here. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the Obi-Wan series. Mandalorian, great. Looking forward to season 2. See where they take that. I mean, obviously we got to find out where this Baby Yoda fucker came from. I mean, he won our hearts, of course, but it's like the whole last episode where it's like you got to take him back, or you got to you're going to be his father right now and train him or whatever the fuck. And it's like, okay, where do you go from there? It's going to be interesting if they actually visit the planet that he's from.
Yeah, I'm really curious. I'm also relieved that the Skywalker saga is done, and I want to see stuff. I want to see Mandalorian and Obi-Wan, and just go do new stuff.
That's what was great about the Mandalorian was there was no Skywalker connection at all. There was no really even mention or anything. Yeah, you had little Easter eggs from the universe. That was fine, but there was nothing. There was no mention of a Skywalker. Nothing. Just nothing. Nothing. And this is the first thing that didn't have that, and that's what they need. And I think that's what Rian Johnson was really looking forward to. But it should have been they just should have maybe hired Rian Johnson to do hey, maybe after, not the middle part. Maybe JJ should have just been the fucking guy to do the whole thing. I don't know how they could have made it where it flowed, because this trilogy does not. You could say, I even said this in my spoiler review. I said, say what you want about the prequels. It's still, you can watch that and go, there was a clear vision. The original trilogy, clear vision. This one, it's a little jumbled. There's it's not consistent. The other one's consistent, no matter if you like them or not. But this one, even though I could say I probably like the movies better than some of the prequels, but there's just consistency with those prequels. There really is. So I don't know. It's interesting. Anyways, cheers to World War III, guys. That happening. Yeah, we're all going to be drafted and put we're going to get those suits in Edge of Tomorrow and just go to the battlefield and everything. I don't know. Everybody's freaking out about that, but whatever. Anyways, cheers, guys. Thanks for joining.
Yep. Thank you.
Ugh. Yeah.